It is my great pleasure to bring the director, Elise Solomon, to the stage. She's going to bring the up. Thank you. Jennifer's also my producer. There's some crew here tonight. Will you guys join me on the stage, please? And this is Jenny. And
yeah.
Where's Jimena? Get up here.
Jimena, get up there!
So while Jimena comes up, Janet and the programming staff wanted me to ask this question to start, and then we'll open it up to all you guys. What was your approach to really creating the cinematic quality of Los Wild Ones?
Ooh. Well, I knew from the beginning that I didn't want to make a documentary that looked like a documentary or was edited like a documentary. And so we talked about that early on, like the whole team. These are, beautiful people. And we wanted it to look beautiful, and the sounds are beautiful, and I just wanted it to feel as much like a narrative feature as possible. And one of the things that I thought of when trying to stay away from the way docs are typically shot is to be still and let the action kind of come to us as much as possible. And we also got to know them really well. We shot for 5 months, like 5 or 6 days a week, and so we were really comfortable with them, and they were very comfortable with us, and it was just easy to find a scene, like when they're talking to you, we can find a lot of emotion in their faces and their eyes, and that's really what this movie was about anyway. It was about this record label that is a family, and so we wanted to get to know the people, and we wanted it to be intimate, and that's why we shot it that way.
Do we have questions out here? Right here in front.
I have a question. It must have been hundreds of hours of footage.
3,500 hours.
Whoa! Thousands of hours.
I'm very impressed because you had to weed out what you were looking for, and I'm sure you had to try to shy away from making it look like a performance-based documentary, and you did that really well by getting into the characters. How did you do it with hundreds and hours of footage?
I'm gonna let Ryan answer this.
Well, Elise, she came to me with this project, and she told me that, this film was never about the scene, the rockabilly scene. So I think for us, even though there was, enormous amount of footage, it was not that it was easy to kind of find the arcs of the story, but you kind of, you just sort of get in the world of the film, and when you're not making a film about a scene in particular, and you're making a film about individual characters, it's a little bit easier to kind of identify the individual story arcs. So I think that helps simplify things a little bit. And at a certain point, you just kind of there's so much footage, but it just feels natural in the world in which the film is existing, if that makes sense. So yeah.
Right there.
I was wondering whether I could ask Brad and Jenny, having invited people into their lives to see that it's such an intimate way and such a frank way, what did you hope to get out of the journey when you started? And in the end, looking back on it now, did the journey deliver what you expected, or were there new things that came out of it? And what do you think looking back?
I guess time will tell if our expectations are met. You guys sitting here means that a lot of them are met, and the 2 preceding screenings were just incredible, and the reaction was incredible. So I guess my expectations were met. It was a great experience because everybody on this stage and a couple of other people who aren't here, about 100 musicians, made it a very special thing. And there's a 4-letter word that's used, a lot, and it comes out of people's mouths very easily, and the word love is thrown away very easily. And we're very lucky with my label, my friendships, my wife, my son, and the individuals on the stage. we have a love affair going on, and it's a very odd thing because our love affair gets bigger and bigger and bigger every day, you know. And I think when the crew came to my house, they thought, "What the fuck is this shit?" You know. And I don't blame them because, you know, there's some scenes in that, you know, you're English, so you remember what Steptoe and Son is. Well, you know, there's some of the scenes that make me look like a junker, you know, and, you know, we just moved into a new house, which is why our tapes are sitting outside and all the rest of that stuff. But the crew came and thought, "Fuck, what's going on?" You know? And I think the crew laughed and thought, "Well, let's see." And I can sort of confidently say that, you know, I don't even have to look at them. I know the people on the stage have a love affair with me, and I have a love affair with them, and it's an amazing thing. An amazing thing. And I think it's a great question for Ryan about the editing, because I have no idea how the guys got to the end result, because there was just so much footage. And, you know, the movie shows about 5 or 6 of our acts. You know, we have 23 acts on our label. So the fact that the guys were able to weed it down and choose something to put together for the movie is just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. A long answer.
Right back there.
While you know you have the mic, I just want to say first of all, I really enjoyed the film. Really wonderful performance from everyone and a great story. I was curious. There's a certain beat in the story earlier on where you say that, you know, iTunes and digital media doesn't mean anything and they're crooks. And then later, it's all about digital media, and yeah, we got to work with them and kind of promote ourselves through that platform. What does that mean to you in terms of what you guys have learned and how it affects the film in the future of music?
Well, I think the image it makes me think of is a white flag being held up, because, you know, what I'm saying at the beginning of the movie, I mean, the digital media has to, I mean, it is your world now. It's not really my world, and we have to compromise, and, you know, we have to compromise. I mean, that's why we have to change. What we'll do is we'll do even more vinyl, stop doing CDs, and we'll do digital downloads. We had to surrender because we couldn't ignore it. It's not a good thing, but I am a realist, even though it may not look like it.
One more question, please. On that same line, please, sir. I'm from a little before your world, so I definitely really appreciate the sound of vinyl as compared to the digital, the CDs. But beyond that, how are you weathering the loss of your father?
I try not to think of my father very often because it hurts too much. You know, all my life I had a fear of my dad dying, because I believe as a man you only become a man when you don't have a father. And I really envisioned that when my dad died, it would be like being in the middle of the ocean with a sailing ship and no way of controlling it. And in my heart it feels like that sometimes. But time moves on.
Thank you.
Anyone out there can answer this one. What was the most rewarding part of this process, other than actually having the film finished after all that hours?
Thank you. I mean, for me, it's getting, you know, now I'm emotional, but it's getting their music out there, because they really do, this is a family. They're very, very special people. They're very humble, and they really do care about each other, and they do this for the love of it, purely for the love of it. And to be able to have people hear this and see who they are and get to know them is the best thing that I could have ever dreamed of.
I wanted to say that too. I remember when Elise, when you first brought this idea to me, and you said you have to hear them, and you have to meet them. You've never seen anyone run a label like this. It's really like a family. And the first show that I went to, I got that feeling when you watch a performer and you think, God, this person deserves to have the world know how talented she is and how special she is. And just thinking about what it could do if all of these kids were exposed in the way that we believe they deserve to be, and how it could change their lives and their families' lives, it would really be touching, and it would really accomplish part of what we set out to accomplish in doing it.
We have time for one more question.
Sorry, I think Kelly wants to say.
Go ahead.
I think the moment for me was I was shooting a show and I was thinking I was fixing the light or something, and this one woman came to me. She started giving me a hard time. And all of a sudden, like all the guys were with the band and became like, they were protecting me all of a sudden. It's like, oh wow, I have a family. That was the moment for me that it changed it all.
So are any of the bands on your record label playing during South by?
No, you probably gathered from the movie, none of our guys are very wealthy. And we live in Los Angeles, so it's sort of too expensive. And also, I've said this at all the screenings, we don't play for nothing. My guys deserve to earn something to be on stage for a little while. So we're not here because the guys couldn't afford to be here, and also they couldn't have earned any money here. But, I'm off to England next week with Giselle and Omar and the Rhythm Shakers. I'm off to Portugal 2 weeks later, Spain, France, back to England again. Omar just come back from Australia, Giselle's just in France. We're sort of pretty busy, but not South by Southwest. Maybe next year. South by Southwest, listen.
Yeah. Everybody in the lobby if you want to talk to them more, and I know that this is a balloted screening, so if you could please vote, they'll collect the ballots down at the lobby.
Woo!
I just want to say thank you for your time.
Thank you.